Attunement now then is the relationship between discernment and coherence, where you're able to increasingly become capable of using discernment in the context of a given coherence to be able to achieve coherence. An interesting metaphor that a lot of people are familiar with, if they're old enough, is when you're tuning a radio. If you have an old, like a FM or AM radio, you notice where, let's say the signal is being broadcast at 90 FM and your radio is right now at 88.5. You just get noise. It's just static. And then 88.7, 88.9, somewhere around 88.9, suddenly you can start hearing music, but it's still a lot of noise. And then when you get to 90, in this case it would be 90.1 because I'm going up by twos, it just snaps into clarity. And you can hear the music and almost all the noise drops away. You're attuning. You're actually making the antenna more discerning in the context of the electromagnetic frequency, where it's now coherent. The antenna is coherent. The antenna is tuned to the frequency of 90.1. The signal is being broadcast at the frequency of 90.1. The whole now is the relationship between these two things, and suddenly, shoop, the music jumps out. So think about the way that a child learns how to stand. Right? So it has just begun the process of being able to move its legs. It can crawl, but it can't quite stand. Well, standing requires things like being able to control your leg muscles, but it also requires things like being able to have really sensitive awareness of which direction your body is falling. It's not easy to be standing up on 2 feet. There's a lot of complexity. Think about how hard it's been to build a robot that can stand on 2 feet. There's a lot of sensing that needs to be done, and then micro adjustments of those muscles. So you have to have a certain capacity in having the muscles respond, not too much, not too strong, like lurching back and forth, but also a sensitive feedback loop between your sensors of where you're falling and your actuators of controlling your balance so that suddenly you're now standing up. Right? So that's an example of moving into a coherent motion of being able to actually stand up is the process of having these sensitive relationships between sensing and acting that become entrained with each other until they have the space of coherence that now has an enormous amount of clarity. So that's the next step, which is clarity.